Good evening. The Foreign Ministry has said the meeting in Paris, organized by the French-Armenian Solidarity Association over the weekend, is aimed to revive an old and worn-out allegation of genocide.
It has pointed out the meeting is also designed to get the support of the Jewish community in France by deceiving it. This statement was made by Foreign Ministry spokesman Murat Sungar in reply to a question. Sungar said it was openly seen that the meeting had no scientific and objective quality from the standpoint of the organizers, the participants and those who made speeches. Sungar also said those scholars and politicians, with the speeches they made at the meeting, failed to give Armenian propaganda makers the support they had been expecting to get. Meanwhile, the Foreign Ministry has said the Greek Cypriot militarization campaign in Cyprus has reached such dimensions as arouse a fresh desire for adventure. Foreign Ministry spokesman Murat Sungar, at his weekly news conference, pointed out that the exclusion in the UN Secretary-General's latest report on Cyprus of the Greek Cypriot militarization constituted an important deficiency. The militarization campaign, Sungar said, would further deepen the chasm of distrust between the two communities on the island and obstruct the finding of a political solution. Foreign Ministry spokesman Murat Sungar continued by saying that the difficulties confronted during the negotiation process on the island originated from the Greek Cypriots' hostile activities. Sungar also noted that it was understood from the UN Secretary-General's report that the Greek Cypriot side did its best to ignore the Turkish Cypriots' proposal for the establishment of a new order on the island, not based on confrontation.
The Helsinki Watch Committee Director General Jiri Haber has protested the Greek government for not having given visa to the members of the Istanbul Bar Association Executive Board who wanted to go to Thessalonica to attend the trial of Dr. Sadık Ahmet. The Foreign Ministry said the Helsinki Watch sent a message to the Greek authorities protesting the Greek officials and calling for the change of this decision. The Bulgarian Communist Party Central Committee has expelled former party leader and head of state Todor Zhivkov from the party.
The Central Committee has also decided to take the necessary action for ending the party monopoly on power. Bulgaria's official news agency BTA said Zhivkov's son, Vladimir Zhivkov, and former Interior Minister Milko Balev, who is known as the architect of the hardline policies pursued during the Zhivkov era, were also expelled from the party. Demonstrations staged recently saw thousands of people demanding that Zhivkov be brought before the court and punished for having dragged the country into an economic crisis. Meanwhile, Politburo member Peter Dulgerov, known to be a Zhivkov advocate, has resigned from his post.
Soviet Prime Minister Nikolai Ryzhkov has called for the formation of a single market in Comecon, which is the economic cooperation organization of East Bloc countries.
Ryzhkov made a speech at the People's Deputies Congress underway in Moscow and explained the outlines of the new 5-year economic plan. The production of consumer goods in the Soviet Union would increase next year, he pointed out, adding that he wanted the initiation of a public debate to make radical changes in the price system as well. Reformists in the People's Deputies Congress criticized Ryzhkov on grounds that he came up with no new proposals to resolve the economic problems of the country.
The new Secretary-General of the East German Communist Party, Gregor Gysi, has said the state apparatus will be restructured and a new constitution drawn up.
Gysi held a news conference in East Berlin and said he was in favor of the constitution being put to the public vote. He said further that his government wanted to engage in close cooperation with West Germany, adding this didn't mean the end of East Germany's existence. Cooperation with the Federal Republic of Germany, Gregor Gysi went on, could start with agreements in the cultural, social and economic fields. Meanwhile, for the first time ever, police officers also participated in the demonstrations held in Leipzig yesterday. They said they supported the reform movements in the country and condemned the old administration.
The Czechoslovak Parliament is discussing the abolition of the laws enacted with the purpose of intimidating the opposition in the country during the previous era.
During today's session of the Parliament, the law for banning unauthorized demonstrations and punishing those attending them was abolished. The Czech Deputy Prime Minister made a speech in Parliament saying the actions designed to champion human rights could not be punished. His government, Karnogórski pointed out, would be respectful of its commitments concerning human rights. Meanwhile, Gustav Husak has also resigned from the Communist Party's Central Committee after presidency.
The OECD foreign ministers are discussing in Brussels the economic assistance to be extended to East European countries.
Foreign ministers of Poland and of Hungary also attended today's session of the meeting and expressed their expectations from the West. Foreign Minister Mesut Yilmaz, who represented Turkey at the Brussels meeting, disclosed the contribution which Turkey is to make to the West's aid package. The political declaration released at the completion of the meeting confirmed the West's support for the reform movements in Eastern Europe, pointing out that economic aid would continue if the democratization process was maintained. Foreign Minister Mesut Yilmaz will attend tomorrow the autumn term meetings of NATO.
NATO Secretary-General Manfred Wörner has expressed support for the US proposal to set up an agency within their lines for supervising disarmament agreements, but he has pointed out that he is against the establishment of official ties between NATO and the European Economic Community.
Wörner told the news conference in Brussels that it was necessary for NATO and the EC to exchange information, adding, however, it was not a must to set up an institutional relation between the two, as the member countries of the two were the same for the great part. NATO Secretary-General Manfred Wörner said further that the United States' plan for the setting up of a united Europe was also supported by the alliance.
News in brief now. The United Nations is reportedly going through a serious financial crisis as some member countries have failed to pay their dues. Secretary-General Pérez de Cuéllar has drawn up a report in which he called attention to the fact that the organization's efforts to preserve peace will be compromised if arrears persisted. The commander of the Navy, Admiral Orhan Karabulut, has been awarded the Order of Distinction by Pakistan. The House of Representatives in the Philippines have accepted the draft resolution vesting President Corazon Aquino with extraordinary powers. In Britain, the House of Commons have accepted the change of law for old Nazis who have taken shelter in Britain and become British citizens to be tried for war crimes. A Lebanese registered ship off the coasts of Antalya is thought to have sunk and its crew have reportedly left the ship. Headlines from tomorrow's Turkish Daily News. UNAP dissidents pruning budget. NATO should become a political entity. Hong Kong, repatriation to continue. Arafat offers peace talks with Israel. Santa's birthplace swallowed by sand. EC Commission to meet on Sunday on Turkish application. Turkey takes initial steps to improve its human rights record. Kandemir, US companies in Turkey should oppose Armenian resolution. And founding chairman Gürkan leaves SHP. And lastly, the weather picture for tomorrow. The northwestern parts of Turkey will come under the influence of a not very active wet system as of tomorrow. There will be snow in Thrace, in the northwestern parts of central Anatolia, and in the inland parts of the Black Sea, and rain in Marmara and the coastal strip of the western Black Sea. No significant changes in temperatures are expected. Lowest temperatures tonight and the highs tomorrow in some provinces will be as follows. 8-3, Istanbul 1-7, İzmir 1-11, Adana 4-14, Bolu -11-4, Samsun 0-6, Erzurum -19, -7, and Diyarbakır -4, 8 degrees Celsius. Weather conditions and highest temperatures tomorrow in some capitals will be as follows.
London rainy 9 degrees, Brussels, Paris and Vienna rainy 8 degrees, Frankfurt rainy 6 degrees, Munich rainy 5 degrees, Warsaw snowfall 1 degree, Belgrade rainy 7 degrees, Girne slightly cloudy 18 degrees, and Riyadh clear 26 degrees Celsius.
That was the news. Good night.